In the near future, I will upload an animation to my Dark Matter 2525 channel. I'm not certain how it will be received, but I do know that it will be misunderstood. And therein lies an interesting question to consider. Does the fault of the misunderstanding lie upon the communicator or upon the one receiving the message? There is no right answer to that question, as it varies from case to case, which creates quite a conundrum for someone with a large audience. My message cannot be specifically tailored to each and every individual within my audience, so there comes a point while writing when I understand that I'm going to lose a certain percentage of my audience who won't properly comprehend what I'm saying. Conversely, there also comes a point when I understand that what I'm saying will be so easily understood by some that it won't be challenging to them and may bore them. It's immensely difficult to strike a balance with over 500,000 people you don't know. Thus, I'm aiming for center mass and hoping for the best. Your intellect, empathy, and experience will dictate your level of comprehension. So, consider this video a cheat sheet for those who misunderstand. This video will contain spoilers of my upcoming animation, so if you don't want to know what it's about, stop this video now. Do I think the problems mentioned in the video will bring about the end of our world? No. At this point, I don't. I think it's possible, but unlikely at this juncture. Such issues can certainly make things worse, but the circumstances in the video are mainly used as a device to communicate. On the other hand, I could just be another frog in the pot of water being brought to a slow boil. The point is, I don't know for sure, but I don't think so. I also don't think such a decline as the one depicted in the video would be so rapid as to occur within a single lifetime. Again, I think that's certainly possible, but not likely. It was necessary in the video, however, so that I could explore the unique perspective of someone who experienced both worlds before and after the decline. If it does happen, and it isn't because of some natural disaster, then it will be brought about from within. The final war of the West would be a civil war, I believe. Now, the old man in the video is not me, nor is he actually Native American. He's a character I created a long time ago, and I might reveal more about him in the future, but there are certain clues as to who he is and what he actually represents. He does have a significant connection to Native Americans, as he seems like one, and his lamentations about the collapse of Western civilization is deliberate irony on my part, as of course it was Western civilization that erased the natives' old world. This is a point that I think a lot of people will misunderstand, but at some point you cannot allow yourself to sacrifice artistic integrity for the audience's lowest common denominator. The overriding point of the video is to rekindle an appreciation of Western civilization, because I see it being simultaneously demonized and taken for granted in this day and age, and that saddens me, because people won't understand what it truly means to them until they lose it, but by then, it'll be too late to appreciate and protect. When I was in the army, we did these training rotations in the woods. Now, I remember a particularly difficult one in which I spent a month in the woods during the dead of winter. To know what that's like, you need to, for 1 month, work hard every day, exerting yourself to extremes. And while you do that, forego showers, hot food, warmth, and even shelter. We didn't use tents. There were times when I woke up with my head in the snow. My food consisted entirely of MREs, which in and of itself was a luxury, because otherwise I would have had to hunt and scrounge food from the forest, a huge problem in and of itself. That was a time in my life when I got to experience what life would be like without civilization. When I got back to the barracks, feeling warmth was alien to me. I took off layers of clothes. The bottom layer had to be peeled off. I stood under the hot water of the shower and watched as the water that went down the drain slowly turned from black to clear as the filth came off of my body. I bought a large pizza, a 2-liter bottle of Pepsi, and a big bag of M&Ms. And that felt like extreme decadence. It was food fit for a king. I ate and drank until I was completely satiated. It was one of the very few meals that I can remember from that long ago. Yet such a meal would be considered utterly mundane. Millions of people eat like that and think nothing of it. They get tired of it even. It bores them. Pizza is an everyday thing. Nothing special. Or so we think. Though I sat there back amidst civilization, I wasn't of a civilized mentality, because I was cognizant of the fact that I was satiated. You're not truly back to civilization until you forget that you're satiated. And that's usually about the time when you start complaining about trivial things, like they're the end of the world. If Western civilization collapsed tomorrow, so many people would die because they're so reliant on the same system about which they endlessly complain, the same system that gave the best living conditions to the most people throughout all of human history. We won the fucking lottery, and we're complaining that the check has a smudge on it. I find this very disconcerting. Now, some people might be tempted to invoke an accusation of relative privation, but I'm not saying that certain complaints are without merit or shouldn't be addressed. The main thrust of my animation is to help rekindle an appreciation, and I do so by appealing to problems that would be if we didn't have the solution we already have, yet don't understand that we have it, that we actually live it every day. We live the solutions to the problems of which we're unaware. So in a way, I'm appealing to problems, yes, but they're problems that don't exist and hopefully won't exist. But in order for that to happen, it is crucial that we value what we have and where we are. And I don't see us doing that, and it concerns me. Thus the inspiration for the animation. Our civilization needs to be appreciated, or we could lose it. As someone who has lived without it, trust me when I say you don't want that. I know that you're the main character in the movie that is your life, so many of you naturally expect to survive. But the odds are very much against that. And for those who do survive, life will only be about survival, and it will be a miserable existence, because they'll know the way it could be. Misery will be the norm until the next generation, who will be ignorant about the way it could be, so they'll fare much better. For them, ignorance will be bliss. I have done many of the things the old king talks about. I know that. But he's not necessarily saying such things are wrong, besides the more obvious criticisms, that is. I like video games and movies. I take selfies. I get on my internet soapboxes, as I am right now. Most of the time, however, it's not about me, and it's not done to excess. For me, it's not a distraction for what's important. And that is why the old king speaks. The animation is essentially exploring our priorities from the old king's unique perspective as the last person with living memory of our civilization, which will hopefully provide something useful for you to contemplate. Thank you.